Okay, stream is live. Don't think anyone's here yet. I'm just gonna wait a little bit until we have someone on the stream. I'm just gonna turn down my computer volume as well because it is loud in my headphones. I wonder if I can zoom. Oh, perfect. I can zoom out. That makes my life a lot easier. Alright guys, well, maybe someone will show up eventually. Let's see. Welcome to the stream on a Friday night in advance of the premiere of my latest video. Mitch, hi, welcome. You're the first person here, so that means that I can officially get started now that one person is watching, so thanks for showing up. Yeah, so if you're watching this either after the stream or if you're new here, my name is Rachel, I'm an archaeologist, and my love for archaeology was partially inspired by playing this game as a child. So we're playing through the levels and talking about the real life archaeological people, sites, artifacts that inspired the game, and working our way through Egypt's history one level at a time. Usually we play for an hour or two. Today it's just going to be an hour and a half. And then if you make it to the end, you're going to get redirected into the premiere for my latest video, which today is all about how discoveries in archaeology in 2023 actually rewrote history, contrary to a lot of popular certain media outlets that like to put about the idea that archaeologists don't like to change history. That's 100% not true. So this video is talking about ways that happened in the last year. So how everything's going to work today, we're going to start at the end of the last level and then progress on to what we're playing today, listen to the mission briefing, look at the map, what the resources are, the different things that we can do, and then start building our city. I will also say that previously I've let people choose which level we're going to play at the beginning of the stream, but that was making a lot of work for me to have to prepare for the next one if there were two choices. So last stream, people got to pick which one we were going to play. So that's what we did, and it was a 50-50 split, and then I chose Dunqul Oasis because it's allegedly one of the hardest levels in this game, and let's have it not said that I don't enjoy a challenge occasionally. I also may or may not have earlier this week play tested the level a few times to try and get my feet under me so that it's not an absolute mess when I try playing it today. I'll also play throughout the stream some pre-recorded segments that I've made about the king for this level, his dynasty, the site itself. We're also going to be talking about people of short stature in ancient Egypt today and the end of the Old Kingdom. I'm happy to always take questions. Feel free to put anything you're thinking or you want to know in the live chat, and you know, whatever, please keep it respectful. And references, image credits will be found in the description of this video. They're either there now or I'll add them tomorrow. Don't forget to subscribe so that you get told whenever I have a new video out, and next time I'm going to stream so you can follow along and everything makes sense because we're talking about things that we've talked about before. So yeah, okay, let's get started. It's enough waffling from me. So this is our level. I'm going to resume my family history. Yes, what level is this? Jeju. Yeah, so this is our last level that we were on, building the Sun Temple. So I should be, yeah, so I've got all of my pillars that I need, and so I need essentially 52 people to move into my city. So let's zoom up the play just a little bit to get to the end. And proceed victory. I like a quick win first thing. All right. So as I said, we had two choices. So there's Dunqul Oasis or Dunqul Oasis, and drive out the jackals. So as we can tell, this is going to be a military heavy mission. Pray for me.
Pepe has taken the throne and awarded your family the status of Chancellor. But it has come with a price. Centralized authority continues to erode as local and regional leaders become more powerful. Harvests in some regions are far below normal, and the specter of famine has begun to appear in Egypt. Mennefer, once a splendid and beautiful city, is beginning to decline. Seers foretell difficult times to come. Powerful neighbors are moving to take advantage of Egypt's increasing weakness. The outpost at Buhen is under siege from fearless Kushite soldiers sent from Kerma, the largest non-Egyptian city in Africa. The Kush are demanding tribute, and the slightest provocation could lead to an outright attack. Nubia, too, has issued a call to war and is seeking to reclaim lost land. If Egypt is to survive, you must do what you can to preserve trade routes to keep goods flowing into and out of Egypt. Keep the hard-won trading post at the Selima Oasis open. Pepe, anticipating his journey to the afterlife, will make frequent requests for stone to build his pyramid. And other cities short on food will seek sustenance from you. Use your resources carefully. Valuable wood is plentiful at the Oasis, but some of the forest must be destroyed to access the limited water supply.
Does it though? Does it need to be done? Okay, I turned that up for the thing, so I'm just gonna turn it down a bit just to make sure you guys can hear me. So let's have a wee look-see around our level. So we've got a nice big oasis. Who's surprised? No one. In the middle here, we've got some hyenas, groups of hyenas strategically placed around the map, which I am going to do something about because, as I said, I was prepping for this level and I was reading about how it's really hard, and one of the hard parts is that the hyenas basically just like eat everyone. So I have a plan to deal with that right off the bat. We also have some ostriches. Of course, our only food source is a hunting lodge. Let's look at our raw materials: wood cutter, granite quarry, sandstone quarry, and a gemstone mine. So gemstone mine, that is going to be my like numero uno Deben generator for this level, I think. And temples, Ra, Ta, Seth. Gotta make sure this guy's happy because yeah, there's gonna be a lot of army stuff going on. So we've got our recruiter and academy and weaponsmith. City palace. Okey poke. And right, okay. So let's deal with these hyenas first. Apparently, and this is not something that I've come up with myself, apparently the small statues are how you box them in. I learned this looking up strategies online. Of how to play this level, is that if you box them in with the statues, the hyenas can't come eat people, essentially. Although you kind of wanted them to do that when the armies come on those ends, but I'm gonna just... Oh no, that guy's moving somewhere. That's not good. Okay, I'm just gonna replay this right away because I need to box these guys in, because if I don't, I'm so screwed. Alright. Oops. Okay, that's one, I think. And this looks like a waste of money, which I mean, you could probably argue that it is, but I swear it will come in handy later when I have to expand my city to fulfill my population goals. While we're waiting, tell me, if you're on the stream, how your week was. Did everybody have a nice week? Are you looking forward to the weekend? what's going on. I'm going to just set up, this is going to be my access to the trees. So I'm going to make this tree central, basically. And what did I do? I think I had last time. No, that's not going to do that right. So I'm going to leave this. This is going to be my start for my block of housing. All right, and then we want to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I think that's right. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I don't know why. I just really like the 6 and 6 alignment for the city blocks. I don't know if anybody else is like really into that when they play the game, but I quite like it. Ooh. Maybe I should move this one more to give. Yeah, just gonna move this one bit forward just to make sure that whoever is coming from the woodcutters, that they can access workers. Again, this seems like it's a waste of money, but having played the game already, I know what am I saying? I know that in previous missions, when you build the personal mansions, it actually means that you can store up money for later missions that you can then do stuff with. So that's essentially what I'm doing here, is I'm trying to, or that's what I've done previously, is I should have a store of family money. Yeah, I've got 6,000 Deben. So I'm going to give 2,000 of that to the city just to bolster up my funds, because basically I think the outset of this is you have to start spending money PDQ to build up your army to be able to head off some of the early invasions that happen, which is, you know, always fun. So we're going to have a storage yard, and we'll have a firehouse and a police station here. And that's one industry off to a good start. This industry is going to be my quarry bit, and then we'll have, what am I going to have? I'm going to have the army guys will have to just come along here to do stuff. Cool, cool, cool. Same pile, different shovel. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Mitch. Nobody ever wants to hear that nobody ever wants to have a shitty week, I guess. Oh, wait. No, this is how I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna set up some food supply. Put myself a nice little granary here. The hunting lodge here and here. And then we'll do firehouse / architect's post. And do some gemstone mines. 2 of these. And then 2 jewelers. We'll do, again, a firehouse and an architect's post. And then this bit over here is going to be my storage bit. Except none. Half and half. Okay, we're a few minutes in. I'm still setting up, so I am going to, right now, just start the first segment for today. And, oh crap. this wrong. Yeah, I'm going to start our first segment for today, which is all about Pepi, our king for this level. So yeah, sit back, relax. I'm going to turn my mic off and play the first segment.
Today's mission takes place during the 6th dynasty, which reigned for around 150 to 200 years. There are 7 known kings from this dynasty: Teti, Usur-Kara, Pepi I, Netyemsaf I, also called Meren-Ra, Pepi II, Netyemsaf II, and Netjer-Kara Sipta. This dynasty is often referred to as the last one of the Old Kingdom. The later historian Manetho writes that these kings ruled from Memphis, and their pyramids were built at Saqqara, very close to one another. Our king for this mission seems to be an amalgamation of Pepi I and II, as our site of Dunqul was featured in the reign of Pepi I, but the date of the mission, 2246 BCE, lands it squarely in the midst of the reign of Pepi II. We're going to side with the date and say that today's king is Pepi II, the 5th king of the 6th dynasty. His Horus name was Netjer-Kal, which means divine of appearances. His throne name was Nefer-Ka-Ra, which means the perfect one of the Ka of Ra. Pepi, by which he is commonly referred to now, is his birth name, but its meaning and origin is unknown. It is known that he was the son of Queen Ongsen-Pepi II, and that he came to the throne at the tender age of 6, but the identity of his father has been hotly debated. Inscriptions on stone blocks from the Queen's Funerary Temple give her the royal titles of King's Wife of the Pyramid of Pepi I, King's Wife of the Pyramid of Meren-Ra, King's Mother of the Pyramid of Pepi II. Traditionally, he was thought to be the son of Pepi I, but the South Saqqara stone annals record that Meren-Ra had a minimum reign of 11 years. This, paired with Pepi II's young age when he became king, is why many Egyptologists now believe that Pepi was likely Meren-Ra's own son and potentially Pepi I's grandson, because yes, as gross as it is, Egyptian kings did on occasion marry their daughters, who then potentially went on to marry their brothers. Ongsen-Pepi II most likely ruled as regent in the early years of her son's reign. She may have been helped in turn by her brother Jau, a vizier under the previous king. An alabaster statuette in the Brooklyn Museum depicts a young Pepi II in full kingly regalia sitting on the lap of his mother. He wears the royal Nemez headdress and a kilt and is shown at a much smaller scale than his mother. This difference in size is atypical because the king is usually shown larger than others. This size difference may refer to when his mother served as regent, or it's depicting her as a divine mother. Despite his long reign, this piece is one of only 3 known sculptural representations of Pepi. Some scholars have proposed that this means the royal court was losing the ability at this time to retain skilled artisans. A glimpse of the personality of the pharaoh from when he was a child has been found in a letter he wrote to Harkuf, a governor of Aswan who had led an expedition into Nubia to trade and collect ivory, ebony, and other precious items. During this expedition, he also captured what's colloquially called a pygmy, which is not a politically correct term. This news reached the royal court, and the excited young king sent a letter back to Harkuf, which has been preserved as a lengthy inscription on Harkuf's tomb. I will read an excerpt of this letter written on his behalf by a scribe now, and I want to just say that I'm only using the term pygmy here because that's in the translation that I found for it. There is kind of a different term that Egyptians used, but that's for later on in this stream. The letter reads, "Come north to the palace at once. Drop everything. Hurry and bring that pygmy you have brought, alive, happy, and well, for the divine dances, to gladden the heart, to delight the heart of the king who lives forever. When he goes down with you to the boat, get trusty men to stand around him on the gangplank. Don't let him fall in the water. When he goes to bed at night, get trusty men to lie all around him in his hammock. Inspect 10 times a night. My Majesty longs to see this person more than all the treasures of Sinai and Punt. If you arrive at the palace and that person is with you, alive, happy, and well, my majesty will do greater things for you than was done for the seal bearer Pharaoh in the time of Isesi, because my majesty so wishes to see that person. Orders have been given to the chiefs of the new towns and the overseer of priests to furnish supplies from every depot and every temple under their charge. No exception has been made for this. What a demanding little kid. We will be talking more about the role of people of shorter stature in ancient Egypt later in the stream. Over his long life, Pepi II had at least 6 wives, of which 3 had their own minor pyramids and mortuary temples as a part of the king's own pyramid complex at Saqqara. He also had at least 3 sons, one of whom was his successor. He seems to have carried on a foreign policy similar to that of his predecessors. Copper and turquoise were mined in the Sinai, and alabaster was quarried from Hatnub. He is mentioned in inscriptions found in the Phoenician city of Byblos from this time. As mentioned in the beginning of this segment, he has a reputation as the longest-lived monarch in history. This reputation comes from a 3rd century BCE account by Manetho, which accords the king with a reign of 94 years, and the Turin canon attributes him with 90-plus years. However, this extraordinary length of reign has been disputed. Manetho and the Turin canon were both written over 1,000 years after Pepi's death. Additionally, ancient sources upon which Manetho's estimate was made are lost. Archaeologically speaking, the latest written source contemporary with Pepi II dates to his 31st cattle count census. If we assume that they were using a biennial system, so they were counting the cattle every 2 years, this means that he had a reign of around 62 complete or partial years. Therefore, some Egyptologists have suggested that Pepi II reigned no more than 64 years. Although, let's be honest, given the shorter lifespans of people during this time, it probably did feel like it was 94 years. Regardless of the exact length, this situation could have produced a succession crisis and led to a stagnation of the administration centered on an absolute yet aging ruler who was not replaced because of his perceived divine status. A later, yet better documented example of this type of problem is the case of the long-reigning 19th dynasty pharaoh Ramses II and his successors. Pepi did build a funerary complex for himself at Saqqara, which consists of a pyramid with its adjacent mortuary temple. His pyramid was called Nefer-Ka-Ra is established in living. The core of it was made of limestone and clay mortar, and the exterior was encased in white limestone. An interesting feature is that after the north chapel and wall was completed, the builders tore down these structures and enlarged the base of the pyramid. A band of brickwork reaching to the height of the perimeter wall was then added. The purpose of this is not known. The burial chamber had a gabled ceiling covered by painted stars. 2 of the walls consisted of large granite slabs. The sarcophagus was made of black granite and inscribed with the king's name and titles. A canopic chest was sunk into the floor. The mortuary temple adjacent to the pyramid was decorated with scenes showing the king spearing a hippopotamus and thus triumphing over chaos. Other scenes include the said festival for the god Min and scenes showing Pepi executing a Libyan chieftain, who is accompanied by his wife and son. The scene with the Libyan chief is a copy from Sahura's temple. A courtyard was surrounded by 18 pillars, which were decorated with scenes of the king in the presence of the gods. Despite the longevity of Pepi II, his pyramid was no larger than those of his predecessors. It followed what had become the standard format. Overall, Pepi II's reign marked a sharp decline of the Old Kingdom. With no dominant central power, local nobles began raiding each other's territories, and the Old Kingdom came to an end within a couple of years after the close of Pepi II's reign. Today's site of Dunqul Oasis is located in the western desert of Egypt near the first cataract of the Nile in southern Egypt. Southwest of the modern Aswan at the edge of the Sin el-Khadab Plateau. The oasis actually consists of 2 parts, Dunqul Oasis proper and Dinigil Oasis. Not sure on the pronunciation of that. Dinigil is located at the very edge of the escarpment in a high position, while Dunqul is in a lower position in the Wadi Dunqul. The Oasis
Sorry, guys. I got too distracted by the fact that I keep going into debt, and didn't notice that we've gone on to the next segment. But so you got a bit of a 30-second preview there. So as you can see, I've already headed off one invasion attempt from the Bedouin. I've got another one coming, I think, fairly soon. And then there'll be a few more on the back of that. So right now, I'm just trying to get to a space where I'm fulfilling my requests. And, oh, well, God is not appeased. Seth is not happy with me. I'll put a nice shrine to him just here. And maybe one right here. Yep, another Bedouin army. This one's a bit bigger than the last time. Hopefully the hyenas will help take them out. That would be very, very helpful. But I need to have my infantry out here, so just seeing how it goes. There's now 3 people on the stream. Well done. Congrats, guys. You're all very welcome here. I hope that you enjoy what you watched tonight. Let's see if I can manage this, the whole thing. Alright. Between my 2 forts, I should be able to handle this. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that wasn't too bad. But, again, because I played this earlier this week, I know that I am about to fall probably into what's like a false sense of security, so to speak. And I need I also know that there's going to be a trade route opening. Oh, Saqqara buys wood. That was stupid. I should have opened that ages ago. Let's do over 400. And that will hopefully get us out of debt sooner rather than later. And then I can build a 3rd fort. I think I'm gonna need, yeah, at least a 3rd fort of infantry. Also, you might be wondering why I have all these police things. This is a kind of standard strategy for this level, that you build tons of police things, because they actually can serve as armed forces when your army's been hacked to bits. So hopefully they're gonna do that for us. All right, look at that debt. It's going down, down, down. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna just have a temporary halt on importing copper, because that is the thing that's currently hampering my attempts to get out of debt. Yeah, and I had a request to send weapons to Buhen, but that's just not gonna, there's no way I can make that many weapons and defend my own city, so. All right, now I'm out of debt. That's great. Perfect. Okay, I've got 2,000 things. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna put in another gemstone mine and another jeweler, because that's my primary thing. And then we'll do another infantry fort over here. And in order to do that, I have to import copper. So we'll do 100 there. Perfecto. I should also... Alright, next time I get an influx of cash, I'm gonna do my palace. And yeah, I'm gonna do my palace. And I'll put in a festival square so that I can have festivals and hopefully get some blessings from the gods. That would be nice. Alright. I've got this guy. He needs... well, actually... yeah, see that Kushite army? If I'm not, like, well prepped for this, I'm going to be so screwed. Okay, we're just gonna go for another fort of archers. Just over here. And then anytime that I'm training up infantry or I'm waiting for stuff for infantry, then at least I'll get some more archers. And I've got all my police, and I've got those two, and now I can also start tax collecting. So that's the key thing, is to be able to collect tax. And we'll put in a position, and actually maybe I'll do a juggler school, and then I can put in a booth or two, which will also help my population, hopefully. How are the gods? All right, amiable. Don't really think I can ask for much more than that. 6 o'clock. Yeah, so anyway, I asked you guys how your week was. My week was busy. I was finishing up, but I was away for traveling for work to Chester this week, so I spent a lot of time on trains, which is fine. I prefer train travel to prefer traveling by train to driving, definitely. Just trying to wall off my my castle is, or sorry, my palace as well, because that's like the first thing that that the armies tend to go for, is they try to collapse this, which is, yeah, you know, not helpful. And yeah, 6 months. How am I doing? I've got, ooh, we'll see. I'm gonna put in another weaponsmith, and hopefully that will maybe speed up things a little bit. Probably not enough to matter, but hey ho. Putting some gardens here so that these people don't feel like their house is so crappy, and so they want to upgrade it. And see, now I'm gonna have lots of extra employees. It's gonna be great. I've just completely ignored. Here we have the rest of the map. Here's my woodcutters, getting rid of all the palms around my oasis. And as you can see, the hyenas over here been largely left to themselves. These ones over here, I really should be taking my army out to destroy them, but I can't do that without, or I can't do that very easily without, right now, because I have so many, I'm about to get absolutely pummeled by a bunch of Kushite soldiers, essentially. Yeah, I don't have enough workers. It's fine if I upgrade the housing. I'll get lots of people to come. Everybody will be happy. It'll be great. Yeah, 1 month. Oh man, this is gonna be interesting. Keep your fingers crossed for me. This is going to be an absolute slaughter and a half, I think. No, I don't think my army's big enough. Oh well, there's not really much I can do about it now. I don't care about any trade route. I need to do something about all these guys that are pummeling my soldiers. hopefully my police will come to my rescue here. I don't have too many guys left over, so this might be doable. We'll see. We'll see if my police come to my rescue. Oh man, oh man. Oh, that's not good. You destroyed my academy, is so rude. Ah! And my warehouse? Oh. How dare they? Yeah, I know. Like, the audacity of some people. Or some enemy soldiers, I guess. Maybe that's a more appropriate way of saying it. Alright. I need to... Academy. This is my #1 thing I need to replace. Everything else is just gravy. Okay. Oh, sandstone. Great. It's one industry I haven't started yet. Well done. Copper and weapons. Alright, sandstone. You want some sandstone? Fine, I'll make some sand. Quarry some sandstone. There we go. At least I didn't get rid of my city palace. That would have made my life a lot more difficult than it currently is. Okay. I think I'm also going to put another storage yard for gems and stuff because this meat one, they just keep on having more and more requests for meat. So, yeah. Have you guys, so going back to the stuff I was talking about in the, oh great, in the segment, had anybody in the stream, had you heard of Peppy II before I mentioned him today? Let me know in the chat. Because he's like semi-famous, he always gets like, I remember him always getting brought up when they talked about Queen Elizabeth and the, how long she was a queen for, because he's basically, yeah, he's the standard 94 years. Theoretically, that's, yeah, like I said, that's not 100% verified, but... Right. You have heard of him, great. That's good. I was really interested, actually, when I was doing the research. I could not find a lot, like, there... Despite the fact that he ruled for so long, there didn't really seem to be a lot of archaeological material that I could find of him. Like that alabaster statuette where he's sitting on his mom's lap is basically like the most famous, the only piece of statuary that I saw. To be fair, did I look super, super hard? No, but still. Go for a potter and we'll import some clay. Oh, I can't import clay. Just as a possible last of the Old Kingdom. Yeah, let's see. Who else has stuff to sell? Getting a weird echo in my headphones. Is that just me or do you guys hear it too? Dakla. Oh, great. They buy things that I want to sell. Fantasticus. These guys are slightly closer. Slightly less expensive. Alright, let's import some clay so we can get some pots for my people. Upgrade my housing once again. Need a conservatory. I'm gonna just move my map around here. Firehouse. And then great. Alright, let's actually, can I fit, yes I can fit a pavilion in here, because then I'll do a dancers as well, and then I'm all set for entertainment. You know, Panem and Circenses, bread and circuses, that's what people want. I am not going to have enough sandstone for this. Oh, the gods are all pissed. Alright, that means I have to get it going and set up my secondary settlement so that I can have my festival. Actually, I don't really have an option over here, do I? No, my festival square is gonna have to be somewhere else. That's fine. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. Let's also just check, because I'm going to put in a temple complex. Oh yeah, I've got plenty of room. Yeah. To set this up. Ooh. Not my road. My food levels aren't low. Your food levels are low. What you talking about? It's really interesting. Mitch, I appreciate all of the heavy lifting that you're doing right now in the chat. But the last few of these that I've done in the new year, like in 20. Fort. I don't know anything that they're going to show up down here. Yeah, all of my streams in 2024 have been like quite quiet, I guess is maybe like the best word that I can think of. I don't know if maybe people are just like chill and just like enjoying time off or something like that, or whatnot, but yeah, it's the last time it was Vaverka was holding up the fort with in the chat, giving me something to talk about, which was nice. All right, let's save. I'm gonna go Dunqul because I'll bet you money this Bedouin army is gonna show up right down at the bottom. So typical. Put in a bunch of police to try and distract them. There's the Bedouin army. Yep! Told ya! Right, well. I guess I can attempt to do something down here. Yeah, police guys are coming out to help out. At least whenever this happens, my kingdom rating goes up. I hope to be back for the other section, Ukraine war stream I follow is starting. Alright, Mitch, thanks for dropping by. If anybody else feels like jumping into the chat, please don't hesitate. Otherwise, I'm just gonna keep playing. Okay. I think I got all the good bad guys there, so that's fine. Oh, and great. I've got a nice expansion going on here. These guys, I'm gonna put a bazaar in for them. I'll be so happy. And now it's time for my massive temple expansion project, which is quite vain probably, but whatever. Actually, I should move this up one. Roadblock. Do a festival square. And then we're gonna have our temple complex to Seth. Slightly offset. Unfortunately, I can't have it in the middle there, but that's fine. And we'll do a firehouse and an architect's post here. Yeah. And we'll start off with a festival to Seth, and then hopefully he'll be so happy with us that next time someone invades, he'll murder them all. Yes, I know, it's not exactly not exactly what you really should be wishing for, but hey. Position. Alright, now that I've got a bit of a handle on things, 3,500, that's not too bad. Alright, the biggest thing here is going to be this obelisk that I need to build, so let's do... Okay, so this is like my export bit. That's fine. Who's going to be... I'm going to make this bit my new bit that I'm going to exploit for granite. Granite quarry. 1, 2. Doesn't really make sense. We'll do 3. And then we're just gonna have... Didn't do enough for storage yards. Oh well. Firehouse. And architect's post. Granite, because I need 100 and something granite blocks. 100. I have 32 stored. So, wait, how do I have 32? Oh. I thought they only took 24. I'm just getting confused, I guess. Exporting, exporting, exporting. Don't need to export that. Don't need to import that. Oh, I need to find who can I sell sandstone to. To Jedu. Ah, yes. Perfect. Sandstone, and we'll do that when we're over, let's go 14. Yeah, it's another revenue stream for my city. Oh, I need to put a tax collector in. Oopsies. Okay. Alright. We're gonna play the, I'm gonna restart the last one just because people might have joined the next segment, so I'll just play that for you now. And gonna put myself on mute, and then I'll see you guys in a few minutes. As always, if you have any questions or anything about the segment that I'm playing, or the level, or ancient Egypt in general, please feel free to put them in the chat. Okay, see you in a bit.
Today's site of Dunqul Oasis is located in the western desert of Egypt near the first cataract of the Nile in southern Egypt. Southwest of the modern Aswan at the edge of the Sin el-Khadab Plateau. The oasis actually consists of two parts, Dunqul Oasis proper and Dunqul Oasis. Not sure on the pronunciation of that. Dunqul is located at the very edge of the escarpment in a high position, while Dunqul is in a lower position in the Wadi Dunqul. The oases receive their water as a result of the blockage of drainage lines of an artesian aquifer. The area around the oasis and between it and the nearby Kurkur Oasis has a great variety of landscape features and habitat diversity in spite of an almost rainless climate. Palm groves and extensive growth of the acacia groves form the main framework of the perennial plant cover. The highlight of their floristic characteristics is the occurrence of the third palm, the long-forgotten Palm Medemia argun, which was abundant in ancient Egyptian times, but now exists only in Dunqul and another spot in northern Sudan. The animal population of this area needs further study. There is some evidence that these western desert oases are the very last refuges of the viable populations of the highly threatened Dorcas gazelle, and maybe also of the highly vulnerable and extremely rare sand cat Felis margarita, thought to be the ancestor of the domestic cat. Archaeologically speaking, in the pre-dynastic period, a group known as the Libyan culture originally lived at Dunqul, but moved when conditions became drier around 5000 BCE. It was one of the major stops on the 40 Days Road, the easternmost of the great north-south trans-Saharan trade routes. This route was used for millennia to move trade goods, livestock, and slaves via a chain of oases from the interior of Africa to the Nile River and thence the rest of the world. Just to the north of Salima Oasis, a level we had played earlier, the track splits into a northern route going to Karga Oasis and a northeastern route going to Dunqul Oasis. Today, the site is unoccupied. The Oasis route, mentioned by Harkuf to bypass a problematic portion of the Nile Valley, indicates that a network of desert tracks including Dunqul was already in use during the Old Kingdom as an alternative trade route to the Nile Valley. The site was also used by General Weni as a staging point for military incursions into Nubia during the reign of Pepi I. But that's pretty much all the information I could find on it. The nearby Kurkur and Nabta Playa sites have been thoroughly studied and excavated in the last 20 years, whereas Dunqul still awaits a proper archaeological investigation. Pepi's letter from when he was a child.
Okay, that's the end of that segment. Hi, Vi. I'm glad that you can make it today. How was your week? Let me know. We are just, again, ticking over here. Not had any major invasions lately, which is good. I'm just trying to build up my stock of granite so that I can build my my obelisk that I need to complete this. But we'll see how that goes. Also just trying to level up my housing. Maybe I can here we go. Let's do another booth here. Let's make people happy. Seth is happy. That's all that really matters. We'll do some apothecaries. I think I'm gonna have to start importing beer as well. Week went fast, no complaints. My week was good. I did some traveling. I went down to Chester for work, which was nice. I got to have a king-size bed in a hotel all to myself, which I very much appreciated. And I went for a really, really nice dinner, like in an Italian restaurant, like that was kind of tucked away in Chester. And I love Italian food. When I went to Italy on my honeymoon, I was in like food heaven. I just had pasta every day. It was amazing. All right, let's see. Okay, now that I've got my economy under control. Okay, I can't make beer, so that means I have to import it, which is a little annoying because it would be nice if I could just make it 'cause it's a lot cheaper. King-size bed is life-changing. My husband and I, when we initially moved into our flat that we live in, we it had a double bed, and we actually requested to put in a king bed, and our landlord, who is, we've somehow lucked out into like one of the best landlords ever. She, yeah, was like, yeah, okay, and let us get a king bed. Pizza is life for me. Italy is amazing. Like, yeah, it was great, and we did it like, I wouldn't say like on a super tight budget. We did it on a like a fairly moderate budget, and we still managed to eat like really well and see all the things that we wanted to see. Like, I took my husband to Pompeii and Herculaneum because we went, so basically we started in Rome and then we took a train to Naples and then stayed there for one night and then took another train to Sorrento and then stayed the rest of the time in Sorrento, and was just kind of visiting the region. But I had like the best pizza in my life when we were in Naples, and it was like €8. Which was actually crazy, but or maybe it was like €11, but it was like, it was the all local margarita in Naples at this like really famous pizza place called Sorbillo, Sorbillo. We had like separate people recommend it to us, but it was all made with tomato sauce of tomatoes that were grown like on the slopes of Mount Vesuvius. The mozzarella and the parmesan was all local, and the basil and everything, and it was like, yeah, it was amazing. Make it there. I'm so jealous. Yeah, I'll keep my fingers crossed for you, because it's honestly, it's amazing. It's a great time. I can highly, highly, highly recommend. Alright, I'll accept a little bit. I can fill up half. Sorbillo is getting added to my go-to maps. Thank you. You're welcome. Yeah, like I had, what was it? The person that, the like reception or person that checked us in at the place that we stayed in Naples recommended it, and then my friend had separately recommended it to us. But they were both like, oh, it's really hard to, not really hard, it's like it's always really busy, so you have to like wait for ages for a table, but there's like a bar across the street, so you can buy like wine or beer and just like stand around chatting while you're waiting for your table. So we went there and we were like prepared for this really long wait, but we went quite early for European food times. Like I think we probably went around like 5:30, and there was no lineup because it's before Italian dinner time apparently. So we just walked right in and got sat at a table, and it was, yeah, it was probably like the best pizza that I ever had. There's actually, I think, as well, some other pizza places, but basically everywhere that you go for pizza in Italy is amazing. Even the like chain Italian pizza places are good, you know. Naples, I wouldn't say, well, Sorbillo might be relaxed, but Naples is not a relaxed place. It was very, very busy. And yeah, the way that their attitude towards road safety. Yes, there's some interesting things going on there. Okay, so here's the vote. I got almost enough blocks. 99 blocks. I have almost enough blocks now to make my obelisk. Where do we want to put it, guys? Tell me in the chat if you have any opinions. Should we put it near the rest of my nice city, where I've got near where the wood guys are, my like initial settlement, or should I be putting it down here with my temple to Set? My kind of like, not lower class, but my settlement that doesn't have pottery. No preference or idea. Okay. It'll be easier to put it up here because the Carpenters Guild can directly get... Okay, Seth approves of my fear and obedience, so that means that when the Kushites next come, I'll be good. So I'm going to put it over here. So we'll do a Stonemasons Guild. gonna put that here. I'm gonna put it on this like little island. That's gonna be nice. And then we'll do another 2 guilds. Carpenter's Guild. And then hopefully between that, it'll be fine. And we're about 1,000 people off from our goal of 3,500 residents. So I think the best thing to do is to start, again, some more industry. So we'll do this, and I'll make a papyrus maker as well. And then we'll have another storage yard for these 2 industries. So flax, linen, no more than half, and then reeds and papyrus, not plain stone, no more than half. And I'm just gonna put in another batch of houses here. People are fine. I don't know what you're talking about. I'll put in another hunting lodge just to make sure that I have enough meat for everyone. Maybe I'll import some. Right. We'll take. This is half. Chickpeas will be the cheapest, I think. Let's see if I can import some extra food. How much are they? 33, 33, 42. Yeah, I'll import some chickpeas. Let's go for 800. See if that helps. No preference or idea. Cool. All right, 8:32. So we have a half hour until video premiere. So I'm gonna just play the next segment, which is inspired by the Pepe's rather demanding letter as like a 6-year-old about a person of small stature that he wants brought to his court. Yeah, basically this is all about people who are really short in ancient Egypt.
Piqued my interest in this topic for our next segment, so I thought that it would make an interesting thing to cover for today. In modern day, there are a few different terms we use colloquially for people with nanism. This is the term for a condition of being abnormally or exceptionally small in stature. Dwarfism is a catch-all term for several medical conditions that result in an adult height of less than 147 centimeters and which can be accompanied by disproportionate limbs, although this is not always the case. Pygmy is an anthropological term which refers to ethnic groups whose average height is unusually short and is most commonly associated with African hunter-gatherer groups from the Congo Basin. Both dwarf and pygmy are considered offensive or derogatory terms, and I've done my best today to kind of avoid using them as much as possible. During the early dynastic and Old Kingdom periods, people of short stature were seen as having celestial gifts. They were treated with considerable respect and could enjoy high social positions. There were 3 terms to describe people of short stature. The first of these was deneg, which simply means little human. This is the term that I'll be using for the rest of the segment because people of short stature is quite a mouthful, and I don't think deneg has a necessarily negative connotation in modern day language. That's also what the ancient Egyptians called them, so I feel like that's kind of appropriate. During the Middle Kingdom period, 2 new terms appeared. Nemu, meaning malformed one, pointing to the genetic origin of people born with achondroplasia, and Hawa, meaning shepherd or cattle drover. The ancient Egyptians differentiated between people whose short stature was genetic and those where it was ethnic. Ethnic Deneg were exclusively hired on very special occasions for dancing and acrobatic performances at temples and shrines. Genetic Deneg were exclusively hired for highly skilled crafts and artistic duties. Egyptologists have also pointed out that this differentiation was not based on discrimination, but instead because of their differing activities and skills of these groups. During the First Dynasty, Deneg served and worked directly for the king and the royal household, and a number have been found buried in subsidiary tombs around those of the kings. In fact, the rather high proportion of Deneg in royal cemeteries of the First Dynasty at Abydos suggests that some may have been brought into Egypt from elsewhere. Later in the Old Kingdom, Deneg were employed as jewelers, tailors, cupbearers, and zookeepers, and they could have their own families or be brought into one. Discrimination and social exclusion seem to have been unknown to the Egyptians at this point in time. In most cases in which Deneg were brought into a new family, they seem to have been accepted at once as full-fledged members. They were assigned special exclusive duties, which were normally performed by the highest ranked officials such as priests and treasurers. Even in many royal households next to the king, Deneg were allowed to serve and work. There were even several Egyptian Deneg deities, in particular Bez and two alternate forms of Ta. In Egyptian art, Deneg are depicted realistically, which enables their identification as cases of nanism. They are typically shown with a normally grown torso and head, but visibly shortened and slightly bent arms and legs. These proportions point to achondroplasia and hypochondroplasia as the conditions responsible for the individual's short stature. The proportion of Deneg in the royal cemetery at Abydos is much larger than in a normal population. Thus, it's possible that some of these Deneg were brought in from elsewhere or even came to Egypt voluntarily as a land where they could expect to rise to a high social status. However, it remains unclear if most of the Deneg were bought or if they quote-unquote rented themselves to institutions such as temples, shrines, and even the king's court. Especially during the early dynastic period and the Old Kingdom, it was common in upper-class households that important sums of some kind were paid whenever Deneg performed public dances or other duties. Similarly, valuables were exchanged whenever Deneg switched their employer or there was a change of the head of house. Evidently, in rare cases, nanism would appear naturally within a healthily, normally grown family, and thus not all Deneg were inevitably gained by either bestowal or acquisition. The best known case of nanism in ancient Egypt is that of the high official Seneb, who lived and worked during the late 4th and early 5th dynasty. Seneb, whose name means healthy, was a person of considerable importance and wealth who owned thousands of cattle, held 20 palaces and religious titles, and was married to a high-ranking priestess of average size with whom he had 3 children. His successful career and lavishness of his burial arrangements are indicative of the acceptance given to Deneg in ancient Egyptian society. A finely carved statue group of Seneb and his family was found in his tomb in 1926 in excellent condition. It shows him sitting cross-legged on a block of stone, with his wife embracing him and his children standing below him where the legs of a full-size person would ordinarily have been. The composition of the scene thus achieves a harmonious symmetry. It depicts Seneb realistically with the facial features and shortened limbs of an individual with achondroplasia. Paintings and carvings in the tomb give his titles and depict various scenes from his life, such as carrying out inspections of his estate and holding symbols of his office. Seneb was buried in a mastaba located in the west field of the Giza necropolis, close to that of another Deneg, Pernianku, a high-ranking royal courtier who may have been Seneb's father. Seneb was apparently buried with his wife, but no trace remains of their bodies. As I mentioned already, ancient Egyptians also worshipped several Deneg deities, the most important of which was Bez. His cult is archaeologically attested since the 12th dynasty and is thought to have originated in Nubia, which is modern-day Sudan. Bez was the god of dreams, luck, dancing, and the protector of the household and its belongings. He was also a god of birth and was worshipped in birth houses alongside the goddess Heket. Bes is always depicted with a normal torso and head, shortened legs and arms, and with the ears of a lion. His most unmistakable feature is the fact that he's depicted from the front, which is rather rare in ancient Egypt, making him particularly recognizable and potentially pointing to a foreign origin of his cult. Unfortunately, the social position of Deneg seems to have declined after the Old Kingdom, and by the time of the New Kingdom, they were depicted in ridiculing ways. And while there is a papyrus from this time that asks people not to treat them badly, this probably indicates that Deneg were by now the subject of abuse. Scholars and historians evaluate that this papyrus' humane doctrine was a public appeal against upcoming moral decay within Egyptian society. This is our last mission in the Old Kingdom, so it's only appropriate that our last segment for
Okay, that's our second last segment, which, yeah, as Vi was saying, or Vi was saying, is really interesting because I think it's not something that people know or even realized was like a thing, that Egyptians were, you know, not mean to people who genetically were different than them, which I think is, you know, quite cool. I really like that. But yeah, like I can't even say actually that it's also something that I definitely knew about, because I don't really remember talking about that in any of my classes or courses. It wasn't something that I think was like covered in any like real depth, but yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I'm also going to just make a road here so that when my bazaar person goes to get food, it's easier for them. Great. Alright, well, I've got to put in a mansion because I need to improve my kingdom rating now and get up to 28, 38, 3,500. Yeah, get up to 3,500 citizens. So I'm going to put in another hunter's thing here. Right, so I'm going to put in a scribal school. And I might have to cut someone's house down to make a mortuary, but we'll see. Cool. Hopefully we'll start getting there soon. Got a pretty decent amount of stuff. I don't need to import copper anymore, I don't think. Ooh. Been a while since the festival though, so let's do that. No idea, never really thought about travelers at the time either though. Like, what would the journey be like? Long, probably? Yeah, I mean, it depends on where you're coming from as well, right? Like, if you're from somewhere in the Mediterranean with access to a boat, obviously it's a lot quicker than traveling overland. But I really like if you caught the thing about the Dunqul Oasis, the 40 days road. I think that's pretty interesting that there was like a route of connected oases that they used for trade. They didn't just use the Nile, probably because, as is today, there are lengths of it that aren't easy to police. So you probably did have a degree of piracy and that kind of stuff going on there. 2760. I don't like that there's all this. Alright, I'm gonna do this. And these guys are gonna accept a quarter of this, and I'm gonna stop accepting it over here because, oh no, wait, that's, yes, that is what I want to do.
Everybody's friendly here. No one is reporting any crimes.
That's good. This happened on one of our, let's have a chat with some of my my citizens.
I can't find a place to live.
That's unfortunate.
I have to go clear across the city with these goods. It'll take off.
I can't find it.
All is quiet in the court. There is no crime here.
That's good. I don't like crime. I mean, who does? But Sorry, citizens, that's life. I know, right? Coming across the classic problem. Too many landlords, not enough homes for sale at prices that everyone can afford. I don't know if everybody else has that issue, but that's a pretty big problem in Edinburgh that we have. There's just... housing is just actually crazy. I think we're quickly becoming one of the second most expensive cities to buy property in after London. It's kind of crazy. Alright, let's see if I have any space to put a mortuary in without having to delete someone's house. Oh my gosh, I have a state. Guys, I have a common manor. That's great. Wow, I didn't think I was going to get one of those in this level, but well done me. 3,000. We need 500 more. Alright, you know what? I'm going to get rid of these guys because they struggle to expand anyway because they don't like their surroundings. So we'll put a mortuary here for everybody. Another common manor, guys. It's going well for me. I mean, in the game, but... I'm gonna also do some beautification down here. Maybe I can... kitty statues! My favorite! Time for some cat statues. Who doesn't love a cat statue? Nobody. That's because they're great. I live in Florida, but my partner needs to get home in Ottawa. Ontario is still struggling. Yeah. That's kind of the funny, interesting thing, V, is that, so I'm from Ontario, and, you know, people will ask if we ever plan on moving back there or whatever, but it's actually probably just as hard, if not harder, to buy a house in Ontario, well, in Canada in general, but in Ontario in particular, than it is in the UK. My parents are like classic, they have that classic kind of like boomer thing where they bought a house on like 2 salaries that, like they didn't have college educations and etc. When they were fairly young, and then sold it for what seems like a ridiculous amount of money, built another house and stuff like that. It doesn't say anything about me, by the way. I haven't seen any of that. But like my brother is back home and he still rents, and it's kind of like, you know, what do? You're just stuck in the cycle of renting for the rest of your life. It's kind of crazy. We all need more cat statues. Indeed. I actually, what was it? When we went to Berlin, I bought a cat statue and I put it in a piece of luggage, and I've not found it since I come home. So I have to actually go looking for it because, or I like took it out of a thing and then put it down somewhere, and I haven't been able to put it in its rightful spot. And like a nice little bast statue that I have. Yeah, I'm very wary of falling into the trap, because my partially, I think I've said this before on this stream, but my love of ancient Egypt is very much, I think, inspired by my mom. She just really likes the aesthetic style, so like they have this gigantic table in their living room that is like it's more than an octagon, and it has this big copper inset with like Egyptian relief scenes of like a man in a chariot hunting and stuff like that, all incised into it. And I grew up with that table, and and so we have lots of Egyptian kind of style decor in my home. My dad is so sick of it, but I'm probably going the same way as my mom in terms of my taste in stuff. But I don't like it when it's like, I don't want it to be garish, but I definitely have dreams of one day being able to like interior design my house to have a subtle ancient Egyptian theme, like, you know, lots of like soft yellows and desert colors and then pops of like turquoise and blue. Probably never happen, but one can dream. I do have a really cool mom. I don't think she watches the streams, but I'll tell her that you guys think she's cool. She watches all my videos. She watches all my videos on YouTube, which is, again, it's just like classic mom, like so supportive. And then, like, if I don't, she also follows me on Instagram and she likes all my stuff on Instagram. And then if I don't post a video for a while, she'll be like, Rachel, where's your, like, you haven't posted anything on Instagram. Are you okay? Are you alive? It's like, yes, Mom, I'm just busy. I haven't had time. It's hilarious. Yeah, me too. I also, like, you know how you watch, like, so I'm an avid book reader. And, oh my goodness. We're almost done for today. I'm an avid book reader, and I have, like, hundreds of books. I'm not lying. It was in my parents' basement. And I've dreamed to be able to one day bring them to the UK and have a room with them all together, my own little library. But I also think of, like, you know how, like, there's YouTubers, they went through this whole phase where they're like, oh, this is my, like, YouTube house tour, and, you know, and then they go and they're like, okay, guys, this is, like, my absolute favorite room that I have, and it's, like, because of they're usually like makeup or beauty guru, it's like their wardrobe and their makeup room and stuff like that. Like, for me, if it was me, it would be like, and this is my favorite room, and it's my library. With like tons of cozy couches, all the books everywhere. It'd be great. You told me about The Conqueror's Wife. I didn't get it started. Life got crazy. This is the week. Oh, I'm so excited. You'll have to tell me what you think of it when you're finished. I really like Stephanie Thornton's writing in her books, and I'm hoping that this is what always happens to me, is I find an author who does some really good, like, historical fiction that is in, like, the periods and the types of history that I like, which is usually, like, ancient Egypt or medieval history, etc. Basically not modern. If it's kind of, like, I'll read, like, some Victorian and Edwardian stuff, but really, like, post-World War I, like, I don't know, I'm just not interested. But yeah, I always find an author who's written some really good books set in farther back, and then I start reading them, and they start writing novels set, like, from the 1930s onwards. It's so annoying. Anyway, we're almost done for today, so I'm gonna mute and play our last segment, which is just really short. It's like 3 minutes long, which is about the end of the Old Kingdom. So be back in a sec.
Today is on the decline of this period. This decline has already been hinted at in the mission briefings. The 6th dynasty peaked during the reigns of Pepi I and Memrare I. However, it was also during this family's time on the throne that the power of the king gradually weakened in favor of powerful regional governors called nomarchs. These men no longer belonged to the royal family, and their positions became hereditary, thus creating local dynasties largely independent from the central authority. We can see this through the huge elaborate tombs at Kos, Akhmin, Abydos, Edfu, and Elephantine built by these nobles, and it's clear that their wealth enhanced their status to the detriment of the king. Internal disorder set in during the incredibly long reign of Pepi II. Administration of the country became difficult, and so he divided the position of vizier, so that there was one of Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt. His death, certainly well past that of his intended heirs, probably created succession struggles. Pepi was followed by several short-lived rulers who were in turn succeeded by the alleged 7th dynasty. I say alleged because our only source for it is Manetho's history, which was written 2,000 years later, so it is actually mostly dismissed as being fictitious because we don't have any other evidence for it. Eventually, the 8th dynasty came along, which does have archaeological evidence behind it. One of its kings, Ibi, built a small pyramid at southern Saqqara. Several 8th dynasty kings are known from inscriptions found at the temple of Min al-Kift in the south, and this suggests that their rule is recognized throughout the country. The instability of the throne is, however, a sign of political decay, and the fiction of centralized rule may have been accepted only because there was no alternative style of government to kingship. With the end of the 8th dynasty, the Old Kingdom's system of control collapsed. About that time, there were incidents of famine and local violence. The country emerged impoverished and decentralized from this episode, the prime cause of which may have been political failure, environmental disaster, or, more probably, a combination of the two. The final blow was in the 22nd century BCE, when a worldwide drought that lasted years prevented the normal flooding of the Nile and caused a famine. Whatever its cause, the collapse of the Old Kingdom was followed by decades of famine and strife. An important inscription from the tomb of Ankh-Tifi, a nomarch or warlord who lived during the early First Intermediate period, describes the pitiful state of the country when famine stalked the land. This leads us into the First Intermediate period, a term first coined in 1926. The period itself lasted around 125 years until Mentuhotep II of the 11th dynasty reunited the kingdom under one ruler and began what we now know as the Middle Kingdom. But we'll have some more on that next time. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Okay, that's the last segment for today. So yeah, just all about the end of the Old Kingdom. You know, pretty standard stuff, I think. It just got too big and too bloated, and that just wasn't successful in keeping everything going, which is really too bad. But yeah, I guess that's just life, right? Well, we will find out more about the Middle Kingdom Vi, because I think our next level is going to be in the intermediate period, but it's going to be towards the end of it, and then it'll be moving into the Middle Kingdom. It's really interesting as well, because the Middle Kingdom is kind of like, I guess, overlooked. People focus on the Old Kingdom because of the pyramids, and then they focus on the New Kingdom because of the tombs, and they're the more famous kings, Tutankhamun, it's the Empire, etc., etc. So, oh great, Seth killed some people. Anyway, we're pretty much finished for today. We've not managed to finish the level, but we've gotten pretty far. This is kind of the finished look. I'm just at the point where I need to level up my housing and get my population up, and maybe send the king some gifts so that I'm on his good side. But yeah, the stream's gonna end. I'm just gonna end the stream basically now, and it's gonna redirect you, if you're on here, to my next video premiere, which is gonna happen at 7. I'll be in the live chat here talking to you guys about the video. It's all about archaeological discoveries that rewrote history in 2023. Contrary to popular belief, rewriting history actually happens all the time. So this is kind of what that video is all about. So thank you so much for coming today and being on the stream, chatting with me. Hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and etc., etc. Anything you can do to help the engagement on the channel to get things going so that I get rewarded by the algorithm is very much appreciated. Great. It's been enjoyable. I hope that you guys have enjoyed everything today and that you've learned something new. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the live chat, and if not in the live chat,